What's good, YouTube? Dmgaming here, guys. And in today's video, I want to talk about some unanswered questions that we still kind of need answered before this DLC drops. So, let's go. All right, guys. So one of the main top questions I would say that I would like to be answered that's still not answered to me yet is how are we going to be able to play as Super Saiyan God Goku and Vegeta in the story mode? And this kind of branches off into some of the other questions, but they still haven't said anything about this. We know that the update is going to have a new card game and stuff like that. They talk about that, which, by the way, that's another question. When is the update going to release? Because at first I kind of believed that it would release alongside with the DLC. But guys, it's possible that may not be the case because Bandai hasn't even released any scans, excuse me, or anything about the update. They haven't even said anything about it. Not even on their websites, which they've updated to talk about the new DLC, they still haven't said anything there. So the only thing we've seen from that is in the V-Jump scans. So that's one thing that I'm wondering, when will the update release? Because if you think back, they did the same thing with the Time Machine, where in the Time Machine, they talked about, well, it was after the game release, they talked about the Time Machine. Even though it was available at the end of the game, it wasn't accessible. That content wasn't accessible until later on, basically between the game and the DLC. So they may do the same thing with the card game. They may release that as a separate DLC or a free update, rather. It will be a free update, but release it between the DLC and the next DLC, episode 2. That doesn't mean we won't get some sort of patch with the DLC, because most games, before they release DLC, they have to release a patch for the game to be able to handle that DLC. Or basically what it does is it unlocks stuff in the game for the DLC to work cohesively with the game. But we have to kind of look at that possibility that the game, that the online card game may not come with the free update. That free update may not come with the DLC. But backtracking a little bit, like I said, it still isn't clear how we're able to play as Super Saiyan God Goku and Vegeta in story mode. Guys, this is Planet Namek. This isn't Earth. So this isn't the villainous enemy, Doria. And it's not the one that we get to wish back with the Dragon Balls, because all of that happens on Earth. This is on Planet Namek, where Vegeta originally fought Doria. They are actually showing you between Goku and Raditz that you're actually fighting them on planet Earth, or planet Earth for Raditz, Namek for Dodoria. They're actually showing you that this is actually them in the story mode. So that's, like, to me, the major question is, how are we able to do this? Bandai hasn't said anything about it. There isn't even anything about it in the V-Jump scans, except for the fact that we will be able to do this, which leads me into my next question. Is there going to be a level increase? Because I don't see. There's a few factors with that, okay? First of all, I don't see how we're going to be able to do Whis' training with the current levels that we're at. You see what I'm saying? So, and the reason I say is there's going to be a level increase, because if there's not a level increase, then I would lean even more so to us getting Goku and Vegeta as separate characters, simply because, number one, guys, with training, the training is always a set level. Training doesn't scale with your character. So when you look at the training grounds, they're set. Those levels never change. When you look at the gravity room, those levels never change. When you, excuse me, when you look at the training with Banyu, those levels never change. These levels aren't going to change. It's going to be level 5. It's going to be level 25 or possibly 35. In the V-Jump, the Japanese version, it says 35, but whatever. It's going to be level 5, 25, 35-ish. Like, these levels aren't going to scale. So how can we do this training with the characters that we currently have in the game? That doesn't make sense, because these challenges are not going to be obtainable. How are you going to do a 30-hit combo when you're level 150 plus? How are you going to activate surge mode when you can't even attack your opponent? You know, so you're already kind of seeing why would they implement something like this in a game when they know people are over level 100, over level 150, some or even most are even at level 250. How are they able to implement this into the game? You see what I'm saying? So then you go into the Beerus fight, and you know that Beerus, you can fight him at level 100. So we do know that one of these levels in Whis' training is going to be at level 100 because the Beerus that we will be fighting will be at level 100. Okay. So that leaves the question to ask, okay, for the Beerus that's outside of the game at level 250, how are you going to accommodate characters who are already 250? See, to me, that screams that there's going to be separate Gokus and Vegetas. I could be wrong, and that's fine. But I don't see how we're able to fight in story mode with these Gokus and Vegetas and not one-shot our opponents. I don't see how we're going to be able to use the characters that we currently have in the game to do Whis' training, okay? Because they would blow through that. They would blow through Beerus, and then the level 250 Beerus really may not be that much of a challenge if you're already 250. I don't know. See, though, and these questions to me need to be answered. Bandai needs to do a better job of relaying this information because it is a debatable question. Like, I mean, we've got the release date already, but this question has been going on since we've heard about this DLC, since I've seen this information, and it's boggling my mind because, like I said, the time machine, the way that it's set up now, you can't go back into time and still have this outfit on. Yeah, you can go. That's the only way right now for current people who have finished the game to go back and fight Raditz and Dorias through the time machine. So are y'all going to, that's another question. Are they going to change the time machine in some way, shape, form, or fashion? And remember we talked about that in a couple of videos, several videos ago, how they could do that as a way to get you to buy the season pass. Picture this scenario, guys. You go into the game, you don't have the season pass, you go into the time machine, and oh, it strips you of your transformations. Oh, it makes you wear the clothing that you wore back then at that particular time in the saga. And you go online and you see all these people playing this Super Saiyan God against Raditz and able to transform and stuff like that. You're going to be like, I want to do that. And so what do? You have to buy the DLC. But the hole in that logic is that if we go right now back and fight Raditz, this Kamehameha that Goku is doing is at the end of a combo. You can even look at Raditz and tell he's already been hit a couple of times because he's in that stunned state. So there is no way that even the Goku that they picture at level 100 can go back in time in the time machine and fight Raditz at the level that Raditz was at then and be able to even get to a point in his combo to do a combo finisher with the Kamehameha. It's impossible because he would have one-shot him with one punch. So are they going to implement some things into the time machine that is going to maybe perhaps scale? You know, maybe that's an addition that they make the enemies in the time machine scale to our power level. Then I can understand how we're able to essentially play the story with Super Saiyan God, Goku, and Vegeta. Because technically when you go in time, you're still playing the story. But at the same time, the time machine isn't available to the end of the story. So they marketing this DLC as you can go and play them in the main story. So that still isn't adding up. There's still major questions that need to be answered that aren't being answered. And to me, this is the biggest one because it branches off into so many different areas. It changes the entire scope of the DLC. For example, you know, if they're adding a new game plus mode to the game, why would you not advertise that? Why would you not market that? And if you do, you know, that makes sense because for somebody like myself, people like y'all who have finished the game, who are well on their way to level 250, if not already there, in order for you to even play with Super Saiyan God, Goku, and Vegeta in the main story, you would literally have to start a brand new game. Which means not only would you have to level up this Goku and Vegeta, but you would have to level up all your characters all over again. You would have to go through all the training grounds all over again. You would have to literally do everything in the game all over again. And I don't know about y'all, but not too many people are interested in that. You see what I'm saying? The only way I would be even slightly interested in that is if they added some more scenes into the game. For example, Trunks fight with Frieza, more in depth. Vegeta's Final Flash against Cell. Goku's instant transmission Kamehameha against Cell. But even then, I wouldn't be inclined to just want to start everything over. And that's part of people's issue with the potential of there being a separate Goku and Vegeta character for the DLC is that what about all the grinding that we did for our characters that are currently in the game? And guys, I'm with you. It makes perfect sense because if you're level 250, it is a hellacious grind to get to that level. Now, what I would implore you to do is if you're not 250, wait till the DLC comes out. Why? Because this DLC is touted as giving extreme amounts of XP. But there's a catch right there. Damn, if it's giving us extreme amounts of XP and we should wait, then the reason I'm saying that is for two ways. Number one, because, hey, it may be Super Saiyan God may be on the same character that's currently in the game, the same Goku and Vegeta that's in the game right now. But like I said, it doesn't explain how they're able to go into story mode with those new outfits in the past like that when you can't do that in the game right now. But still, talking about leveling up, okay? How are you, it's going to benefit you if you can get all that XP. Okay, so it makes sense for you to possibly wait till the DLC drops and then level up. Me, I think I'm going to just go ahead and level up anyway because I want to see if Beerus is going to scale, if there's a new level cap or something to that effect. There's just so many different answers. And I'm not going to lie, I'm pretty fortunate, thankful that I have the Japanese version as well as the American version because that gives me a way to kind of test that a little bit early with the Japanese version because I'm not 250 with that. Heck, I'm not even finished with the story yet. So I'll be able to see how that works without having to start a completely new game. But then on the English version, American version, I'm already completed with the game and all of that kind of stuff. I'm going to be level 250 by then. So I'll be able to see if it's going to scale and vice versa. But guys, like, it's almost like the more we know, the less we know. You know what I'm saying? Aside from the release date. And even with that, still, because we don't know when the update's going to come. Is it going to come with the release date? Is it not? Because they haven't even talked about the card game. They haven't said anything about the card game. They haven't released any scans from Bandai Namco on the card game, aside from what we saw in the V-Jump. Okay? And so we're still, like, it's like they gave us information, but there's still major questions need to be asked. And I know I'm not alone on that, guys. Or am I? I know I'm not. If I'm thinking it, somebody else has to be thinking it as well. So let me know what y'all think down in the comment section down below, man. What questions do you have about the DLC that isn't being answered just yet? Because like I said, the question of how are they able to go back in time or how are they able to play through the story mode with these characters? And because look, Goku is Super Saiyan God. We know that in Whis' training, Beerus is level 100. That's the Beerus that you fight in Whis' training. So in order to beat him to even get Super Saiyan God, you would have to be remotely very close to level 100. Otherwise, you can't get Super Saiyan God without beating Whis' training. So this confirms that this Goku has beaten Beerus in Whis' training. So being level 100, even going back and fighting Raditz, you would one-shot him. Guys, this is not making sense. Bandai, what are you not telling us about this DLC? What are you not telling us? Is there a New Game Plus mode? That would make sense for guys like myself and others who've already beat the story to be able to go back and play with the current characters we have now. That would also answer the question as to how Goku and Vegeta is able to go back with the same outfits they have now. However, the issue with that would be if they're able to do that, so that means if I go play with Gohan, he would have to be in adult mode. See, there's a lot of intricacies that are in there that's still not adding up. So we need answers, man. We need answers, and that's what I want to know. Bandai, if you're listening, that's what I want to know. Tell us, how are we able to do this? That's all I got for right now, guys. Till next time, thanks for watching. Peace.